think it's a wonderful idea. I'm just curious, did we budget for it and where and how much is it gonna cost? That's the biggest concern for me.
Yes, but you're a little better off
They
there.
haven't come up with a budget, but last year we did the breakfast. How much did we budget for last year?
55,000.
I can't
I
remember.
can't remember.
I thought it was 2,000
I
for
thought it was
the
two.
breakfast, and then we did 1,500 for the
Promo?
promo.
So I think I asked for 5,000.
5,000?
And then when the actual bill came in, it was less.
Some of my staff went out and helped
Yeah.
work the holes for special events, like closer to the pin or whatever, so.
Thank you. Councilor Tanaka and then Panasi.
My concern with this is that last year we were having some issues about the town, and like if the town people wanted to participate because we were co-hosting it, that they should be able to go as, it was, like as a paid thing. And I would like to see that somewhere that if any town employee wants to participate, they will be allowed to,
As part of the workday.
as part of, thank you, as part of their work day.
As a matter of fact, that was one of the discussion items with the MD, was that they wanted the town to step up a bit more, because they will take the lead again this year, but next year, and they will probably go again for another year, they would like us to take the lead, which would mean that we would be more organizing, more contacting, more, just more of the lead role in hosting. So this year will be more of a training to take that lead role on the third.
Sounds carried.
So again, I go back, if we're going to allow $5,000, where in the budget is that money gonna come from? Would that coming out of the extra money we saved from the grants, or is it, has it already been allocated again in the budget somewhere as a line item?
You guys have to decide what's, cause I don't know.
No, my question
It
is
would be a
directly to,
sponsorship.
It would be from our sponsorship line,
If we have.
if we have. Councilor Tanaka.
Would that not come out, or could that, the promo advertising that we had up here for 72.5?
Good, cause promo items are what they're asking for, and the breakfast would be a promotion of the town library.
Councilor Panasi.
Yeah, I think, you know, all of those, I understand you wanna get an exact money amount, there's nothing there yet. But I think the concept is that we're gonna co-host this. Once we know where it is, we can find where the money needs to come from. We also know that last year we made 30,000, and it was split between Stars and the new, what's that? 50, oh, it's 25, okay, so it's making money at the end, it's a small investment for a town, and to get those people that get here, it was a great thing to do, so all we need is to know that we're gonna support it, and that, and I think administration, like was mentioned, needs to figure out who's gonna lead this in 2016 to be quite involved this year, so they know what needs to be done and who can do it and who to contact, so that in 2016, when we take the lead, we're ready to go. We don't have to wait for them to do it, because they'll have done it twice. We need to do it in 2016.
Sounds carried.
as a friendly amendment, Madam Mayor, if you're willing, could you state a dollar amount in the line item that we'd like to come out of? I just don't wanna see it. If we don't put a dollar amount on it, all of a sudden we might be at 20,000, 30,000. Just for security for myself, I'd like to see a dollar amount and have it come out of the promotion and advertising line item for now.
I don't want, I know it's not gonna be more than 5,000. I hate to tie us, well,
If there's a dollar amount to it, I might be able to
if it came back at 25,000,
I don't
we
think
could
we'd be
still say no.
opposed.
Yeah. I mean, it won't be much different than last year, I don't think. I mean, they're not looking at anything different. They made lots of money, wasn't good.
And they only asked us to just make the motion to be a co-host.
Yeah.
They didn't give us, we haven't even set the budget as to, what it is. So, no, I think I'm just going to say that we show the intent that we want to be a co-host. So we're supporting it as a co-host, that's it.
Just as a rebuttal, if we commit to being a co-host and all of a sudden we do get a hefty price tag, well, you guys said you were gonna co-host and here's the bill, so if there was a dollar amount, I might have been able to be more in favor of the motion, but with no dollar amount.
Well, I hate to say 5,000 and then they come back and say, well, we need 6. And I don't wanna say 10 in case they say, oh, well, give us 10. Well, I only wanna give 5.
Could always amend your motion or change the motion at a later date.
Mr. Jamal.
Yeah, the MD has already made a decision to host the event, and they're asking for our support, so we don't necessarily have to co-host it, we can support the decision. And if there are financial issues, it comes back to the council to make those decisions.
Actually,
We'll have that chance.
they did ask to be co-host because we get the recognition as one of the sponsors. Town of High Prairie, MD, and we're asking Tolko again to be the title sponsor.
Mr. Chair, just a quick one, on that golf tournament, I don't think council received any financial statements speaking to what was spent and what was made. I know people have said we made lots of money and all of those things, but I don't think the town has received any financial information with respect to the golf tournament.
You should ask for it.
But their conclusion's been drawn already, and so somebody must have seen something that we made monies, I don't know.
Might be going on hearsay.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
what we
nothing
paid
has been
for.
given to the town since.
Should make a note and ask for it. I let it stand.
You let it stand. Call a question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And on to the Order of Excellence,
Mr. Chair.
5B4.
Make a motion, the council rescind motion number 4515, moved by Deputy Mayor Carrier, that council nominate Gordon Buchanan for the Order of Excellence Award if he has not already received it.
Mr. Chair, I only have one, I don't understand why this is on the agenda.
Me neither.
If he doesn't, qualify, then he doesn't qualify. You don't need to rescind the motion, he just doesn't.
It was a motion made, and so it helps to keep things tight, that this is why it wasn't carried through, wasn't followed through with, because he wasn't eligible and the motion was rescinded. Keeps it tidy.
We waste our time on motions that don't need time.
Yes, we've all made those mistakes. But I understand. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All those in favor? Opposed?
I should ask for a report of vote.
You.
This has been.
Okay. 5, 6, 7, and 8 will be on for our next agenda meeting. We are now on to page 76. Council Carrier.
Make a motion, the council receive for information the January 2015 Senior Peace Officer Report and the Fire Chief's Report as presented.
Nice job in the paper.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody didn't read it? Read it. It was really good.
Why you didn't read it?
As you can see by my report, we had a terribly busy January. Hope the rest of the year stays the same. If it did, we could sell our fire trucks, and today we had a different we had a cooker today, so you never know.
Mayor Cox.
How are your volunteer firefighter recruitment coming? Not so good.
Not good at all.
Well, if it's any consolation, Slave Lake isn't getting anybody. And they've got the mills that they're trying to recruit from.
So, I don't know, we're gonna try a few things, like just, I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but just have more fire department functions and things like that, and see if we can get the camaraderie, a little better, and maybe build up the interest a little bit, I don't know.
Do you mean increase in honorarium?
I don't know if that'll help, it possibly could help, but, it's too late for this year's budget, so. Something to consider for next year maybe. This year, I think it's too late, so.
Councilor Knack.
I had a question, but I kinda answered it in my head.
Good.
You have to be 16?
You have to be 18.
18, okay. Cause I was thinking, could there be something that could be done with the school,
Well, we do have a junior firefighter program
right?
where we take 16, 17-year-olds, and Trevor's son is on there, and we have one other young fellow on there from school, and they come in and they join us for practice, they join us for meetings and stuff, but they don't attend fires. Well, they can attend, but they can't join in, and I mean, they're just not old enough, and insurance wouldn't cover them, WCB wouldn't cover them, so you have to be 18 to be covered under insurance and WCB and all that, so.
I just have another question. Can somebody join the fire department but not to do the fires?
Yep. I just had, fellow from Luke Markosha from a newspaper. He approached me last week and he brought me an application, and he said, I don't wanna fight fire, I don't wanna have anything to do with fires or accidents or anything like that. All he wants to do is administration, and he said, the thing I wanna do most is look after your website for you, and Facebook and Twitter. Well, that's exactly what we need. Monica is coming to see me tomorrow, she wants to put in an application, and all she's interested is showing up at fires and taking pictures, which is great, because we don't get a chance to do that, because we're all too busy fighting fire or doing whatever, we don't have time to take pictures, so, I mean, it's great to have people like that.
I would come talk to you then.
We need people to do school programs, like fire prevention and stuff like that in the schools. Retired people would be awesome for something like that, like, I mean, just to go and do presentations at the schools and stuff. They don't have to attend fires, but they can still be part of the department, and, you know, it'll take some of the load off the other people, so.
You know, if you can increase your web presence and social media and get some videos and some pictures up on there, that's gonna really help your promotion.
Yeah,
too.
that's what we wanna do, and I think Luke will probably be,
And you get him on the radio and
Yeah.
talking about it some more, oh, absolutely,
I think
good
it'll,
stuff, get him.
and if he's there all the time, he'll know what the fire department's all about and what we're doing, and then he can just talk about it whenever, and
Great people here.
so, I think that's a plus. We'll see what happens.
Any further discussion?
How's your new truck?
Oh, it's nice. It's plain white today. I took all the decals off today, so and I've made arrangements to take it in next week and get the lights changed. I thought it was just a matter of changing the bulbs. So I phoned today to order some bulbs to change the blue to red, and they said, no, you just bring it in and we just reprogram it. It's all done digitally, like, if you just put it on a program, reprogram it, and they go to red instead of blue, so.
Even better.
But I have to take it to Edmonton and do that, so that's the unfortunate part. A road trip to the city, but I'll go in the morning, come back in the evening, and, or maybe I'll go Tuesday and stay overnight and come back Thursday, or, I haven't figured it out yet.
Julie will tell me.
Yeah. But other than that, Tracy is going to be doing the stripes next week. She was gonna do it this week, but she's in Vegas this week, so we'll put some red stripes on it. It's gonna look nice. Thank you.
Have you been doing inspections, in the different?
I did 2 today for Marigold, but I didn't invoice them for them. I just don't wanna charge Marigold, so.
No, but are you into a program of inspecting businesses and that?
I'm starting to. I haven't been up until now because I haven't really had time, but now that I'm working 3 days a week, I wanna do a yearly fire inspection for all businesses, and especially hotels and motels and restaurants.
And you're working how many days a week now?
3.
So, part-time? I
Well,
thought we had-
0.6.
Pardon?
0.6 time.
0.6. I thought we had gone with a full-time. Next year? No, half-time.
Well, it's 0.6.
Yeah, that's it.
3 days a week.
Okay.
Any other questions? Seeing none, move to,
Well, we've got a motion, but there's another work to go with it.
there is, and Constable Bloom said he wasn't able to. So if there's any questions, we can forward those on to the next meeting, he'll be there.
I have a question that maybe the CEO can answer regarding the protective services. I thought there was a motion to discuss the enforcement agreement that we had with Flair and McLennan and Donnelly, I believe it is, at the 2015 budget as to. No?
No,
So have we sent them a letter saying that that was the last year?
the motion was clear.
So the letter went out?
The motion and the letter went out to them.
They did wanna come and do a presentation to us and ask us to reconsider, but they got the letter.
Oh, okay, okay. Cause you know that the MD had said that in passing also, that they were looking for peace officer services.
I haven't heard that, but,
That was at the intergovernmental. It was an off-the-cuff remark,
okay, I didn't pick up on it.
yeah. Okay. So
Any
there's-
further discussion?
what
Call
did you s-
question?
What did you say we're gonna do with this enforcement services? One?
Well,
We had
it was
questions?
all, yes, Constable Bloom will be answering any questions we have on that at the following meeting.
Oh.
Okay.
So, I have one more question.
Yep.
I had asked you about, court costs when we have the, lawyer attend on our behalf of bylaws, and you said you were going to, discuss with Constable Bloom?
Yes.
Did you get an answer?
Not yet, I'll talk to him again. We talked about it last week, yes.
Did he indicate anything last week when you talked about it?
No, we didn't talk about it. I'll talk to him this week. We meet tomorrow at 9 o'clock for senior managers meeting, and I'll bring that, talk to him.
And last, we have to vote on this.
I think, what Alan was saying is that if there are any questions, it can be asked, and I can take the questions to him and then present them. So if there are any questions, it can still be asked to us.
Yes, and he also intimated,
Okay.
stated to me that
Okay.
if need be, he would answer at the next meeting as well. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call the question, all those in favor? Carried. 5E is also off. We are now into community services and now into the staff and CAO written report. 5G, page 81 of the agenda. Mr. Tanako, you have the floor, sir.
Mr. Chair, please.
Sure.
That council received the CAO Kelly Tanaka written and verbal report and action list for information.
Well done. Did you do that here?
So just, I don't have that in my report, but Ruby, the lady that does our computer, will be absent from February 7th to the 17th. So we're able to get our agenda onto the website. But I think we'll be missing out on the minutes. So if you don't find the minutes on between this now and the 17th, it's because we don't have the lady around to do that. And as soon as she gets back, we'll make sure that all the information gets back on. So we'll be running into that difficulty.
Councilor Tanaka, Mayor Cox.
I just have a question, motion 760/14. Moved by Council Member that Council direct administration work with MD of Big Lake to draft the High Parade lease agreement and for it to be brought to a future council meeting for council review. A lease agreement on what?
The airport lease
Okay,
agreement?
I thought it was, but I thought maybe, should it not say airport in there?
It should.
What page is that, please?
It's page 1 of yours right here. I had it marked down also. I was pretty sure I knew what it was.
You want an amendment?
We have to.
First page of it. There it is.
Okay.
High Parade lease agreement. Does it say High Parade Airport lease agreement?
Okay, that's fine.
So we'll have to make sure that we carry the motion of the amended report.
I'm not sure whether this is full motion, it could be that in the minutes, the full motion, but I've noted that. Just a quick update on the airport lease, last week we provided, it's been a lot of work, I mean, from our side, because it's our lease, and we provided all the information, and then last week we provided the last bit of information regarding the maps and then
A diagram.
yeah, the legends to the diagram, so, and then, there was an issue about insurance and the statement about insurance. So we sent that information out, the insurance company is okay with it, so I'm hoping latest, I think there's a direction to take it back with the municipal committee as well, so within a week or so we should. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Any further discussion, Mayor Cox?
I'm just wondering if Crystal Sepledge is still working for the town?
She does not work for the town. She does not work for the town.
Was she working for the town?
She worked for the town till January 25th, I believe, yes. And she was on hourly basis. And
So, was there a check cut for her, or was that?
yes, she was on
So I'll
hourly
be
basis.
signing a check,
No, that's payroll.
so she was working for the town.
Yes, I said she was working for the town
On an hourly basis.
on an hourly basis.
Okay, but she's not anymore,
No.
that's over now.
Yes.
She's gonna terminate that. And. So I have the same lease question. And the auditors are coming in on February 16th. So are we meeting with them?
Once they come in, I'll find out exactly what, I haven't talked to them directly, they've been dealing with the treasurer, but I'll see exactly what their schedule is. The first time I'll be talking directly with them, what schedule they have for council.
And the recreation, I I met with the finance department and recreation to resolve matters pertaining to outstanding accounts. What happened there?
Yeah, so I got a communication going between our finance side and the rec side. So I've seen emails go back and forth, and they're working to make sure that all the outstanding issues are resolved. We met in my office.
I'm not sure if the rest of council has been brought up to date on that issue. Do they know?
It's very operational, outstanding issues regarding finance.
The recreation requested their requisition for January. And the treasurer deducted invoices amounts that were outstanding from the requisition. So I don't really think that those are two separate issues. And I don't think the treasurer should have been doing that.
Well, he works for the town and he protects the town. If somebody owes us, and he has to make the deduction. But whether the person owes us or not is the question. That's when we sat down to see what was owed and what was not owed, and they're having a conversation about it.
I think it's almost like a third party when you start mixing up your requisition and invoices that you're discussing as to whether or not they're owed. Your requisition is the requisition. Your invoice is the bills that deal with utilities or whatever. So, anyhow.
It's not
That's
the
all I
first
have.
that I've heard that the rec board has some outstanding bills that sometimes not always paid in the quickest way, but
Well, that's similar to the town, and, they didn't pay the requisition for, I'm not sure how many months, a couple of years ago.
wow.
Yeah, very hard to remember.
Councilor Carrier.
Just curious on your February schedule. The Fridays that you're not in the office, are those considered vacation days or those work days just but away from the office?
There were days.
And you're in the office on the 4th and the 18th all day?
When is the fourth?
That'd be the day before your,
The 4th is passed.
well, the 18th then.
Yeah.
The police commission at 4 p.m.
Yeah,
on the
so-
19th, so are you in
when
the
I
office
have a meeting at 4 p.m., I'll be here about 12 p.m.
on the 18th?
If I have a meeting at 2, I'll be leaving at 10 p.m.
Any further questions? Seeing none? Set the board. Any question, all those in favor? Carried. Thank you, Mr. Tomalco. Notice of upcoming meetings. Council information, sorry, including correspondence. No? Okay, and then we're on to 7.0, notice of upcoming meetings, the budget meeting, 7.1.
Yeah, I put it on there because I wanna, and I know just wanna make sure when we had the budget discussions and said, that we should be setting a rate that everybody's gotta shoot for, a mill rate or whatever number we wanna set. We really haven't done that for administration. We're sort of going in a little backwards sense. And we also have never had a chance to do what Donna has talked about, is sit down and review the town departments' budgets, and make sure we understand what's going on with those. So I'd like to have those discussions and have a meeting where we have those kinds of discussions at a special budget meeting, not as part of a council meeting. And I know we've mentioned it before, I don't know if we have a date set or anything, so.
That's carried.
To get a motion on the floor, then I'll make a motion to direct administration to come back with possible workshop dates to discuss the budget in its entirety at the next regular meeting of council.
No, special meeting. Oh, and then bring it back on the 24th of February.
to have him come back with some dates so we can discuss the budget in its entirety, have it on the next agenda then? With possible dates, so that he's got time to make sure whoever needs to be in attendance can be in attendance, and we'll have a couple dates to pick from, so we're not arguing over a date for an hour.
You expect a meeting, not workshop.
I would like a workshop so that we are able to discuss. I believe we are allowed to have workshops. Or we're not gonna come to conclusions or anything, we just wanna discuss the budget in its entirety.
If I may, if you're gonna discuss town business and discuss the budget, we might as well be having a meeting.
Can we get some clarification on what is a workshop and what can be happening at a workshop? Because every time we try to ask for a workshop, it has to be a public. When or what can we discuss at a workshop?
Everything, anything is done in camera.
So then I would like to have some workshops then, so that we as a council can just get together and discuss the budget in its entirety. I'm not saying that we're gonna come out of there making all kinds of motions, I wanna be able to go through it and ask things line by line. And that's why I'm saying a workshop. If it can't be a workshop, have it written in the RFD stating which MGA Act or something that we're breaking by having a workshop, but every single time we've tried to have workshops, we get denied. I think we can have a workshop on the budget, if not, let us know why in the RFD and we can go from there then.
We have had a workshop on the budget. And we went through like the meeting that was here and we went through, but we didn't get to a lot of what we wanted to discuss, right? And that's what, I think we need to have another one and sooner rather than later, cause we're running out of time to approve our final budget in here.
I personally, I'm gonna see people cringe, but I would prefer to have it on a weekend. A Saturday, a full day sit down, call the caterer and just go through it, try to figure out and have our.
Have a potluck,
Have a
save some
potluck.
tax dollars, save some tax dollars.
So,
No, you're gonna get much from me, I'll tell you that out of the cook.
I'll make homemade buns on your behalf. Anyways, let's get back to the motion here.
so, I mean, that would be my preference. I don't think that sitting here for 4, 5, 6 hours in the evening is gonna do anybody any justice. Or the discussion, cause it'll get tiring and we'll be wanting to get out. I know that our management team would probably not want to have a date on it, but at the same time, if we come away with a stronger, better prepared budget, everybody should be happy with that. So,
Have the motion read before we vote on it?
yeah,
Can I just have one more,
Ask the chair.
go ahead.
just wondering, we had a schedule and we had a workshop planned and, or originally we did it, we didn't get to some of the things that we wanted. I don't know if there was another date in there and I can't remember the schedule and I forget, I think it was you brought up the date to when we were gonna do things, but, and so I have to apologize. Again, I don't know what that schedule is, but I'd like to know if there's anything.
I remember Mr. Tomaplin and I were in his office, we were going over the dates of what would be, but I don't know if there was a special meeting involved in that or a workshop. The time is getting close.
Call the question on my motion, please.
Okay. May we have it read back, please?
That council direct administration to come back to council with possible workshop dates to discuss the budget in its entirety.
For the next council meeting.
Come back to council.
I just wanna ensure that it's on the next
Okay.
agenda item, so it's not,
At the regular meeting of council on February, what's the next one, 24th?
thanks, Brian.
24th. For council on
All those in favor? Carried. And now we get to the fun stuff. 8.0 written verbal reports, council and committee. Mayor Cox, you have the floor.
You have my report in front of you. I move my report for information.
And Carrier and then Demac, please.
2 comments on your report. The Rural Health Services, I want to extend thanks for ensuring the First Nations and Métis should have been there. I think that's very vital. So thanks for bringing that forward. And I'm very excited to hear what you have, if I can get a little bit more details for the options of the doctor's house and the next steps for Railroad Avenue.
First off, Railway Avenue, I believe the tender went out.
No, it's not, the motion to have the tender has been done, we're working with, MPE to get the tender out.
Perfect.
So it's moving along.
Perfect.
The doctor's house, there was discussion, because these doctors that are already here have accommodation, but there's a possibility that when more doctors come in, they're having problems, finding places for them to live that meet their expectations. So one of the possibilities was that we would rent a 4-plex, and that would house 4 families, long-term lease, and that health professionals, not necessarily doctors, but health professionals would live there. And the advantage of that would be that you are meeting people in your community immediately because they're your neighbors, and you would probably be able to settle in a little bit better because you've got the social, you're the cohesiveness already there. You don't have to start from scratch with new neighbors. So there was that. They also talked about leasing an apartment and again a long-term lease arrangement, or having someone build this 4-plex or build a duplex and that kind of thing. So Councillor Panasic was also there. Did I cover most of the?
You covered it. At this point, it's really exploring all the options. There's nothing closed, but those were some of the options discussed, and any ideas on how we can do it. Right now, the immediate need is covered through rental properties that we're covering for them, and as more doctors come in, there's a concern that the rentals are so low in town that we might not be able to find things, so we wanna come up with an option, other options for them.
And the only comment I really made on this was that the town did not want to purchase. We are not very good landlords, I feel, and that we don't want to be in the position of having to maintain another building. It would be cheaper for us just to pay the lease and let a landlord make sure that it's kept up to snuff.
Excellent, thank you.
Councillor Demac.
Thank you for sending us a little bit more in-depth from your rural service review. As I was reading that, I was kind of feeling somewhat the same way with some of the comments that people were making, that it's another meeting. Like, when is something gonna happen? We just keep talking and meeting and talking and meeting. So hopefully things will be progressing.
And one of the comments I did make I had a phone call with Dr. Ibeth, who is the medical director, I believe, for our region. And he wanted to talk about getting another committee to do health advisory council for the town. But in trying to find people to go to this rural health services, I had talked to Marilyn Empter, who sits on the Lesser Slip Lake Community Health Advisory Board, and she was saying that she's feeling like this board is spinning its wheels, and she's thinking that, we're not doing anything, I feel like quitting. And I said, well, you're the health advisory council for our area. And I took her comment forward to Dr. Ibeth, and I said, why do you want to get another committee going when you already have the Lesser Slip Lake Health Advisory Council? You should be involving them in our community health advisory. Colleen Greer also sits on that, and she phoned me back because she couldn't come to that meeting, this meeting. And I again reiterated that I had moved their agenda to Dr. Isaac's attention, and I said, and I will keep you in mind, because why invent another committee to have more people sit on when you've already got this committee that doesn't seem to be getting enough input? They didn't even know about this health services review that they were coming around. They thought they were coming to High Prairie, and I said, no, they're only coming to Peace River, and that was it. So,
It was an interesting meeting in that, everybody there has been meeting to death. And they said that if this is a waste of time, they will let, Minister Mandel know that they will not be amused. We have studied these issues 100 times over. There's national statistics, provincial statistics, Indigenous and Aboriginal statistics. We don't need to study it anymore. We need to get some of these things implemented. And my point was, enough is enough. We're looking to you to get this done. Let's keep the dialogue going by all means, but we've studied it to death. We know the issues, we know what the serious problems are. We cannot have a shelter building that won't address the healthcare needs of our people, period. And they were supportive of that. So hopefully something comes of this. Very good. Motion to accept. All those in favor? Carried. And Deputy Mayor Carrier.
No report, there's been no committee meetings for me to go to.
Councilor Demaca.
Nothing.
Councilor Hunter's not here. Myself, verbally, I already said that. I have 2 meetings coming up for the watershed, one on Thursday, one on February 18th. Those reports will be in next council. And Councilor Panasic, I didn't leave you out.
You got my report. Any questions on it?
Mayor Cox.
I had one question, because I think that we're gonna, as a intergovernmental committee members, there's gonna be some, discussion further on this. And that's where you say, Sue, we will likely split the difference of the grant with the MD share coming out of the 1 million. That was not the way I understood that at that
Yeah.
meeting. And it certainly won't be anything that I support. That $1 million should come to us. And the grant was stuff that we worked on jointly, and they cannot take part of the credit and say, well, you know, that comes out of 1 million. That's my feeling on it.
That wasn't their feeling on it.
No, it was
No.
not, and I
there
think
was
we
some
will,
discussion.
we will have
It's-
some, discussion
It'll
on
go
that.
around again,
Yes.
but, I think the way I got it ended at the end of that discussion that went around is that, you know, we didn't wanna get too hung up on just that issue, but the fact is that, oh, maybe we'll just split it, was the sort of the discussion that came out at the end. And that's why I tried to say that's might be where it ends up.
And Mr. Tomaco, what did you hear?
I mean, this is the strangest thing I've ever heard in my lifetime. I mean, I'll be honest with you, where grant is given to a municipality, and then another municipality says we helped, so we want to split it out, and it's ridiculous.
I agree.
So,
Yeah, and just, I'm gonna argue the MD side, not that I agree with it, so, but their statement is that they paid for the study that got the grant. And at least that money should be coming out of it, because in their opinion, there was that study that they had done and that they presented to the minister, which was what got the money, cause shortly after that it got approved. Then that's their sort of feeling on it, but.
I think we probably could meet with the study, but splitting the grant, the study's only 30,000 or whatever. The grant is up to 500,000.
Yeah, and just a question for Kelly, have we got any word on?
No, we're not having a word on whether the grant has been approved, but, I mean, given the fact that the MD is the bigger brother and supposed to help the small towns and small villages move forward. These are some of the things that you need to move the town forward. You don't start taking pennies from their pocket because I didn't want to be part of that discussion. I had into it.
And one other thing that's not on my report that I should mention is that there was a, discussion by the MD people is that they did not want the town to lower their, taxes because there would be a bad perception with the MD residents that they were giving the town money and all of a sudden the tax rate goes down. And so that would not sit well with their taxpayers.
They should talk to all the different business people who live in the MD and have their businesses in this town and ask them if they want their taxes lowered or we should keep them the same, because I'm sure they would get a different viewpoint from the business people in this community. They should consider that thought.
I'm just telling you, and we had a discussion, and like I said, if we lowered our taxes, it's nothing to do with, it's an operational reduction, not a capital reduction, and they understand it. They're very worried that their residents may not understand and the perception.
Then it's a point for them to get communication out there.
Well, and we need to get it out also. As soon as our budget is finalized, we really need to do a good job of publicizing it.
Councilor Janak.
I have two questions. Discussion on future use of the old hospital site. Piper School Division, who's HFSD?
Holy Family School Division.
Oh, okay. And my second question is, regarding the airport, MD has hired a person to look after. Who did they hire to look after that airport?
They hired, let me just see if I wrote her name down here. They hired a gal that, has got all kinds of experience. She's worked like 6 years with the Edmonton International Airport.
Oh, cool, okay.
And, yeah, so.
Lives in Canuso.
She lives in Canuso and comes in. She's also looks after the Swan Hills Airport also.
Oh, okay.
On behalf of the MD, but she's been putting most of her time and effort in here, is my understanding. And I didn't write her name down.
Okay, no, I was just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's working pretty much full time there and looking after it on a day-to-day basis. And they got good plans for the airport. They really wanna see things and there's lots of things gonna come out of that and will start happening fairly quick.
Great. Mr. Tobacco.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just on the issue of the $1 million and the intermunicipal cost sharing agreement, that portion of mutual benefit, based on that discussion that we had with the MD, I'm sure we all left feeling like, what's next? I mean, I don't know what I saw loosey-goosey in terms of the future. It's in the agreement, but the discussion that we had, we're not sure who we're talking to that particular day. So it's something that makes me a little nervous. It's not ironclad. I know 50th Avenue, the Railway Avenue, the MD wants to put money into it, into other future things. I don't know how the discussions will go, but it's something that I just want to let you know the table so you understand.
Thank you. Any other discussion?